Fiduciaries include a trustee under any trust. If you work for the government, hired by the government, contracted to the government, you become a fiduciary. In Wisconsin law, for the purpose of determining discharge of ability of debt arising from misappropriation of collected fees, where Wisconsin statutory definitions specifically include public officers. Plain meaning of statute seem to include any public officer matter on the token a public officer is holding a position of the public trust stands in a fiduciary relationship to the citizens that he or she has been elected to serve. I love the wording of that. We elect these people to serve. And what I find interesting about that, and maybe I've shared this with you, maybe I haven't, but the Bible gives us direction about the kind of person that we're to put in as leaders. And it's not education, it's not experience, it's not qualifications by their standard or ours. The requirement that the Bible gives us that a person to be placed in a position of leadership must have a servant's heart. Because if you have the servant's heart, then all of that will come into play. God himself said, it's someone with a servant's heart. That's why David, in his reign as king of Israel, had tremendous success when he was in harmony with God, but he had a servant's heart. He did everything to protect the people. Moses didn't want to be the leader of the Israelites. Moses said, I can't even talk. He said, that doesn't matter. You use your brother Aaron. He'll speak for you. He didn't get out of it, did he? But I love God has an appointment for you and I. We better listen. We better listen. But the point I'm trying to make here, we have much of the problem that we have in our federal government, our state government, our county government, because we elected the wrong people for the wrong reason. And until we change it, we're just going to have a revolving door about corruption and corruption and more corruption. Better figure out who has a servant's heart. We don't dare do a near enough investigation. We don't ask near enough political time. Everybody jumps on the bandwagon, go to a couple meetings, and they're done with it. Okay, I know who I'm going to vote for. That is not the way to conduct an investigation for somebody that you entrust. See, that's what this is. A fiduciary is an entrustment. Let me give you an example. Take out your wallet, your checkbook, and your credit card. Who are you willing to entrust with that? Hang on a minute, I want to hear that.
Who will I trust with my wallet? Depends what I got in it.
Well, that's true, but if you add all of the other items I mentioned, it not necessarily
She decided to go on last minute.
What about with your asset? And what about your life?
She wasn't going to. She said,
In
"I'm
our
going to go
country.
for an hour."
In our country. Exactly. Now you
Sorry.
see the picture.
Totally.
We are entrusting our future into a bunch of criminals. People get mad as hell at me because I call government and the courts criminals. I call the law enforcement, for the most part, not all, but as an entity, or criminal syndicates. And what we're doing, we're aiding and abetting makes you and I as guilty as they are. What are we doing? Why do we keep slamming our hand with the big heavy hammer, so to speak? I hope that my message is getting through here. Like I said, and I'll be repeated again, because it needs to be repeated. Until you and I take a stand, it's going to continue on. And so many people are hurt as a result of our complacency. Tragic. Absolutely tragic. It should not be forgotten that a public officer is a public trust. And all public officers should so conduct their official duties and activities as to be like Caesar's wife, above suspicion. The irregularities of the administration of their offices have been such irregularities they may not, under the law, constitute such willful misconduct, corruption, or maladministration as to merit removal from office. Gives a court case, Parson versus Turgot. The statute is unique because only public officers can violate its provision. Did you catch that? The statutes are unique because only public officers can violate its provisions. Stop and think a minute. How many thousands and thousands of statutes and codes we have? A whole bunch. And I want to share something with you. Last I checked, which has been 5-8 years ago, federal laws alone, we had over 43 million federal laws. Insanity. And 99% of those somewhere in that 43 million contradict the first part that addresses the same subject. You got aviation laws, you got maritime laws, you got transportation laws, and on and on and on and on and on it goes. Yes.
That's the great parity. We have 14 million laws that our public officials are to be held to, but they're not being held to any of them, but we are holding ourselves to all of them.
Well, that's absolutely true. Because think about it. What if you're a public servant? How do you know what law it is that you're to implement? They don't know. They don't research. I know this for a fact. So what they do to make it look like they're really being to your benefit, they go to the halls of Congress and they turn around and they make a new law, not knowing whether there's 20 or 30 of them already been made. I really appreciated Trump when he was in the presidency. He said, for every regulation you make, you got to get rid of 2 of them. That needs to be done continually until we get down. See, what people don't realize, the purpose of law, whether it be God's law, man-made law to follow up in harmony with God's law, the common law, is to bring peace. Statutes and codes are intended to bring confusion. See the difference here? Law is to bring peace. That's why it's to be simple and correct. Now, sometimes the law can be pretty harsh. And I'm going to mention to you, there's such an abuse in reference to this thing we call equity law. The Constitution makes provision for it, but it's been so prostituted that it's pathetic. Because people don't study, they don't understand the element of law. Equity law is to only be exercised in the event the case that had
Hello.
extra
I thought I'd go and try
extenuating
and sell.
circumstances. Well, let me tell you what happened, and I've researched this. When an equity came before a court legitimately, years and years and years ago, the judges were allowed under that equity boundary to possibly set aside the law and use discretion because of extenuating circumstances, okay? And I can't think of an example for you.
Whoop.